It's Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial for you. And I got some requests to do this super snuggly wuggly cardigan based off of your typical hexagonal granny cardigan with a hood, as you can see. This isn't going to be your typical sort of tutorial because I didn't actually follow a pattern. Quite true. And I'll go into more about that in a bit. So yes, it's got a lovely hood, it's got really cool lapel-like collars, and it is nice and baggy and snuggly. I might put buttons on it, I don't know yet, but I absolutely love this. I wore it to work today for the first time, and all my coworkers were like, it was so much fun. And with the fall quickly approaching, this is a perfect project. And so, as I said, this is not going to be your typical tutorial because I took inspiration from various other patterns and tutorials and things, and I decided to make it really customizable because a pattern for a person is like trying to say, all right, all these snowflakes, they're all the same, they all fit into this category. And I believe that since we are like snowflakes and thumbprints, we're all individuals, and therefore being able to customize a pattern, especially for a fitted garment like this, is really helpful. So let's get started, shall we? Okay. Alright, so this is what it looks laid out. Not as much fun, but you get the idea. Now, I'm going to go into as much detail as I can throughout this video, as well as the series in general, so that it is comprehensible. You know I try to do my best. So basically, it is composed of two hexagons that are joined together, and with the way that I have finagled this pattern, there is a minimal amount of actual sewing, and I found that to be helpful for several reasons. See right here is one of the joins from hex to hex, and also up here is another join. And we're going to get into that later, but I wanted to give you a rough idea. Now, this particular piece I did using a weight of 3 yarn. This is Pound of Love yarn in the gray, and I used almost 2 full skeins, almost. I had this much left over from 2 pounds of yarn, so this does take a lot of yarn. Now, keep in mind, okay, that I used, like I said, a weight of 3 yarn, and I used a size H hook. Now, to show you that it is customizable, I decided to also go into a different yarn. And as always, no, I am not sponsored. I just like to show things that I really like, and so the Karen Big Cakes, this colorway I fell in love with. And this is the colorway of Mint Fudge. And this is a deliciously fabulous colorway, so I just had to use it. Now, this is a weight of 4, where this was a weight of 3. So, what do we do, right? So, with the gray, I used, like I said, a size H hook. With this, I'm using a size I hook. So, that's where the customization comes into play. So, to give you an idea, I am going to lay out my hexagon to show you exactly what I mean. Be right back. Alrighty, so as you can see, I lined up the hexagon that I'm working on right now on top of my pre-existing piece. Now, it may look like, oh, wait a minute, there's so much more fabric here. True, but this section down here is actually added afterwards because, as you can see, the join between the two hexes is right here. Okay, so it comes down far enough, and then over here, as you can see, yes, we have the sleeve. Well, yes, the joining ends right here, as you can see, like right where this puff is here. That's where it ends, and this is where we do some decreasing to cinch up the sleeves to make them a little less baggy. Believe you me, it helps. So, the other thing to keep in mind is that when I was doing this piece with the H hook and the weight of 3 yarn, my hexagons were 20 rounds large. This one, because I'm using a slightly thicker yarn and a slightly bigger hook, I needed fewer rounds. I only needed 18 rounds to get the same size. So, like I said, this is more of a formula, a technique, a way of achieving the desired result without actually having to follow a pattern, okay? To some of you, you might find this rather liberating. To some of you, you might find it very frustrating. I'm doing the best I can, trust me. So let me show you how this is actually a hexagon. Now you're like, oh, it's an L shape. True, but when you open it up, yes, it is in fact a hexagon, but it is very warbly, very wavy, and that is actually fine. Typically when you are crocheting a hexagon, or any sort of motif shape, you want it to lay flat. Not in this case, actually. And because when you do fold it into the L shape, it works beautifully. And that's really what this project is. It's basically taking the two hexes, joining them together, and so it's going to be joined along here, leaving a little bit of an opening up here so we can have lapels. And then when we have our second one, we're going to do the join along that top edge of the sleeve and then connecting the two down the center. And so, in a nutshell, emphasis on nut because I'm a little crazy to try doing this, but hey, basically what you want to do is to figure out approximately how wide you want your piece to be for your torso. Now, the width of the sleeves, don't worry about that quite so much because we're going to do decreasing to make the sleeve slim down, which, like I said, it's pretty essential. So don't worry so much if this looks like a 70s throwback where the sleeves are way, way too big for comfort. We can slim those down. What you should be more concerned about is this going to be wide enough? And I'm going to show you right now one of the tricks that I used. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, so I have laid out one of my shirts out on top of my piece here because sometimes you don't have a model handy and sometimes this is not for yourself. So this is one way of doing it where being able to ascertain, will this be big enough? Because you do want it to be baggier than the clothing that you are wearing underneath, of course. So if you have a shirt or the equivalent thereof of the size that you want it, this will help. And of course also you can fold it in half, naturally, to see, okay, the current hexagon that I'm working on, is it going to be wide enough? In this case, yes. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that the finished hex, okay, it doesn't go out entirely to the edge. Actually, it is, I believe, this row here, because this final row here, this goes around the entire circumference, the entire perimeter of the entire piece to bring it all together. So this and these single crochet rows, that you can add on later. But the gist, you want it to be as wide as, say, half a t-shirt or whatever. And I think I've rambled on quite a bit as it is, but I really wanted to give you the idea that yes, you too can do this. You can totally do this project, and I'm going to walk you through it as best I can. And again, there's a join as you go method, makes it a lot easier than sewing. And so we're going to get right into crocheting our hexagons, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a jiff. Be right back. Hello, my little yarnivores. All right, so we're going to get right into it. Now, here, as you can see, is one of my hexes all ready to go. And as I said before, this is 18 rounds using the Caron cakes. And as I said, this is the Caron big cakes. And again, I can't stress this enough. No, I'm not sponsored. Yes, I love the yarn. That's all there is to it. And doing this piece here, going from this skein, which in ball form looks like this when it's all balled up, this is what I have left, okay? Just doing the hex. Now we still need to increase the sleeves, well, decrease the ends of the sleeves, but to make them longer. Plus, we need to do the bottom, the hood, the collar, the edging. So I would strongly suggest, especially if you're using a yarn with a dye lot, buy a lot of it. You know, hang on to your receipt, return what you don't end up using, and, you know, you're going to need a bunch, okay? Now, me, again, as I've said before, I like to err on the side of caution. So I bought 6 of these suckers. Now, excuse me, I'm probably not going to need all 6, but again, I like to err on the side of caution. So another technique that you could do is buy a yarn that doesn't have a dye lot. If you want to really be on the safe side, Red Heart Super Saver. The majority of the yarns do not have dye lots if it is a solid color, with the exception of gray. All of the color-changing yarns that I've come across do have dye lots, so just something to be aware of. So, with that being said, as you can see, you know, yarnage, you know, it works in mysterious ways. So let me put this aside over here. And as I said, also, this is the colorway of Mint Fudge. Yes, oh, it's so yummy. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that if you are using a Caron cake line of yarn or another color-changing way of yarn, keep in mind that this is going to be an asymmetric, hodgy-podgy kind of look. If that's what you're going for, great. Otherwise, if you want to have the center of your piece the same on, you know, both sides, well, then you're going to have to line up the colorway of your yarn exactly. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that if your tension is not exactly the same when you're crocheting one hex and the other hex, well, then the color change is going to be on a, you know, it's going to be on a different round. So I would not suggest using this yarn per se if you're going for symmetry. Me, I already did symmetry with the gray one, so I want to get funky with this one. You know, I'd like to, you know, try something new, and I want to try it with you guys. Also, as I said, when I did the gray one, I was using a size H hook, and it was weight of 3 yarn. Now with this, I am using a size I hook, and this is a worsted weight of 4. So the number of rounds, it's going to be 2 less as far as rounds, but it is going to be essentially the same size. And that is what I want to stress to you, that this is not an exact pattern. This is a means to an ends. This is a way of working within the basic constructs of sort of a formula so that you can make this any size you want, because we're all individuals, we're not cookie cutter shapes, and I believe that if you keep in mind my basic tenets of crocheting, knitting, stitching, crafting in general, it requires 3 essential things: time, patience and humility, being able to rip out some stitches, swallow your pride, learn from your experience. As Bob Ross says, we don't make mistakes, we have happy accidents. And I look at it this way: as long as you learn something from the experience, then it is a learning experience, not a mistake, nor a waste of time if you learn something from it. And when I was doing the gray piece, because I wasn't following an exact pattern, I did rip out a lot of stitches. I started over, and I really learned. And I felt that that was far more valuable than strictly following a pattern. If you are looking for a pattern, I did see one on Pinterest as well as on Ravelry, same pattern. It is called the Campfire Cardigan. And like I said, I did not follow that pattern exactly. I took it as inspiration, and I went in my own direction, if you will. If you want to check out that pattern, feel free. I won't take it personally, to each their own. But this is what I want to do for you guys. And if you want to stick around for the ride, hey, buckle up and let's get started. Alrighty, so with my eye hook, 5.5 millimeter, and my Caron Cakes yarn, we're going to get started. Now, of course, you can use whatever yarn you want. You can use whatever hook you want, and that is the beauty of this. Although, if you want to follow along, by all means, do so. So, don't need a tremendous tail because we are starting at the center of the hexagon. So, we're going to start with a slip knot, like so. And you can start with a magic ring method. Not my method, but so we've got our slip knot, and we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to do a slip stitch into that first chain, and we're going to create a ring. Just flop my tail over there. Now, in this ring is where we're going to do all of our stitches. And we're going to have quite a few of them, believe you me. So starting with a chaining up of 3. That's going to count as our first double crochet. We're then going to do 2 double crochets into that center ring to create our first cluster. And we're going to need 6 of them. So we've got a total of 3 double crochets, and then we're going to chain 3, and then 3 more double crochets into this center ring space. Like so. All right. Chain 3. 3 more doubles. And if you do this entire project, you are going to be dreaming about 3 double crochets, clusters of 3 double crochets like there's no tomorrow. All right, so we've got 3 clusters here, and we need 3 more, all within this ring. Now, don't worry if it gets a little tight or a little bunched. Just work your stitches so that you have more of a chain to work with. It's okay. So we are going to chain 3 again, and then 3 more doubles into that center ring space. One more. All right, so we have 4 clusters. We need 2 more. So chain 3, and then do 3 more doubles within the center. And another reason why I love this project is because doing the granny style of stitching, 1, it's very quick, and 2, it is one of those projects where you can just sort of lose yourself and have a mindful moment and not have to think quite so much about following the pattern, so again, I love it. All right, so chain 3 again, and then 3 more doubles into the center. And I believe that's our last cluster. Excusez-moi. And of course, I'm going to double count because I always do. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, so we have 6 clusters in total, and it is already buckling a little bit. But because we're going to be folding it in the way that I showed in the first part of this video, it is not a problem. All right, so got to chain 3 more to finish this up. And then into the top of this first chaining up, we're going to do a slip stitch into this top chain right there. You see? Be sure to grab both legs of the V. Sorry. And slip stitch. Pull it right on through. And there we are. So this is the beginning of our hex. Now, we need to be in the center space of our corners to continue. So I found that the easiest route is to slip stitch across and then get into this space here. So, going to slip stitch into this next stitch here. Just slip right on in, and then slip stitch into the next one, like so, and then slip stitch into this space, like so. And then we can work our way up to the next round. And for those of you that are familiar with doing granny squares, this is very much the same thing in a lot of respects. Okay? So I'm just going to pull out some more yarn, get myself situated, and we'll go on to the second round. Alrighty, so for the second round, again, we're going to start by chaining up 3. And then 2 more double crochets into this corner space to create our cluster of 3. Like so. Then chain 3. Always in the corners, we have 2 sets of 3 doubles and a chain 3 in between. All right. See? So this is a completed corner, and then we need to bridge the gap across here to get to our next corner. And in that case, we're only going to be doing 1 chain. And then into this corner, 3 double crochets. Chain 3. And 3 double crochets. All right, then we have to bridge the gap again. So we chain 1. Into the corner, we're going to do 3 doubles, chain 3, 3 doubles. And 3 doubles. Like so. And the vast majority of this project is going to be done in this fashion because the majority of the cardigan itself consists of the hexes. So, this is going to take up most of your work, believe you me. All right, so we finished this corner, so we've got to bridge the gap again, chain 1, go into this corner with 3 doubles, like so, chain 3, and 3 more doubles. And I realize that this is not a particularly conventional series that I'm trying to do right now, as far as no, there's no pattern. But I want you to be brave. And I want you to try new things. And I want you to spread your wings with me. See, we're almost around the entire edge. Now, of course, you could think that I'm completely loony, but it comes with the territory. All right, so we did our cluster, chain 1, and then into this corner, 3 more doubles. Chain 3, and 3 more doubles. Oops. Come on. Oh, really? Seriously? Making me look bad. Come on. There we go. Okay, so we're bridging the gap, so I got a chain 1. And then into this final corner space, going to do 3 doubles. Chain 3. And 3 more doubles. All right, so got to bridge the gap one last time. So 1 chain, and then we need to slip stitch into the top of this first quote-unquote double crochet. So getting right into here, like so, and then complete our slip stitch, like so. And that's the end of round 2. Absolutely love this colorway. I know I've said it, but I just said it again. So then you slip stitch into this next double, slip stitch into the next one, and then slip stitch into the corner space. And then we can start in on the 3rd round. I'm not going to do too many of these because from here on to the end of however big you want this to be, it is going to be the exact same process. But I love kibitzing with you guys, and I love making sure that you guys really get the idea. All right, so we're going to do another round. Be right back. Alrighty, so to start round 3, chain up 3 stitches, and then do 2 more doubles into that corner space to complete your cluster of 3. And then because we're in a corner, we need to chain 3. And then do 3 more doubles, not clusters. 3 more doubles into this corner space here. Like so. And then we've got some bridges to go over. So we need to chain 1, and then into this side space, we're going to do 3 doubles. And then chain 1, because we've got another gap to bridge, or, you know what I mean. So chain 1, going into this corner, 3 doubles, like so, chain 3, and 3 more doubles. All right. Then we need to bridge the gaps. So we chain 1. Into the center space, we do a cluster of 3. And then we need to bridge the gap again, so we chain 1. And then into this corner space, 3 doubles, chain 3, 3 doubles. Okay. All right, so we have some more gaps to go over. So we chain 1 into the center space, 3 double crochets, chain 1, and so we're into the corner, so we need to do 3 doubles, like so, chain 3, and then 3 more doubles into that same corner space, if I can get my act together. There we are. Oh, come now. There we are. Okay, we've got to bridge the gaps here. So chain 1, go into the center space with 3 doubles. Chain 1, go into the corner space with 3 doubles. Chain 3, and 3 doubles. Okay, got to bridge the gaps once more. So we chain 1, 3 doubles into the center space, chain 1, we're up to the corner space, so again 3 doubles, followed by a chain 3 and 3 more doubles all into this corner space. All right, chain 1, and to finish up this side, we're going to go into the center space with 3 doubles, of course. Okay, and then chain 1, and then we're going to have to connect with a slip stitch to the top stitch here, like so. Voila! And that is 3 rounds of our hexagon. All right, so now you are going to continue along in this fashion. So, see, right now I'm right here. So then you're going to slip stitch into here, slip stitch into here, slip stitch into the space here, chain up 3, then 2 more doubles, chain 3, 3 more doubles, all into this space right here. And then you're just going to be bridging the gap. So after you do your 2 clusters in the corner here, you're going to bridge the gap with 1 chain, go into this space with 3 doubles, chain 1, go into this space with 3 doubles, chain 1, go into the corner space, 3 doubles, 3 chains, 3 doubles. and then just continue moseying your way all the way around, and then do a slip stitch. Okay? So, I hope this is starting to make some more sense, and the neat thing is that as this keeps growing, you can fold it and see, is this going to be big enough? So now, I don't know if it made sense how I was folding before, but basically you're taking two of your corners and you bring them together like so. And then you flatten it out. Actually, I'll do this away from the camera a little bit so you can see it better. So you're taking two corners and you're bringing them together. And this is your L shape. So, keeping that in mind, basically, this part would be your sleeve, and then this part down here is going to be half of your body. And we're going to connect this edge to the edge of the other hex, once it's done. And then we're going to connect this edge along the top. Now, when you are making your hexes, obviously you want them to be big enough. However, on the last round of your hex, that is going to be the joining round. Okay? Now, on this piece here that I did, I went the full 9 yards, and I did 18 rounds so that I knew that it was the right size for me. I am going to undo about 2 sides of this hex that I did so that I can do the join as you go method. Now, I recommend this very strongly because as opposed to cutting your yarn and literally stitching it with a yarn needle and stitching it closed, and then after that trying it on and realizing, oh, it doesn't fit. It's too big, it's too small. You're kind of locked in to it to an extent, because to take out all of that hand stitching and to restart your yarn, that can be a real pain, believe you me. So, with this idea in mind of the join as you go method, this will save you a lot of time in the long run, because if you find it's not the right size, well, then you can backtrack a little bit and then you can go forward from there. Believe you me, it works really, really well. So what you want to do is you want to keep in mind that when your hex is big enough, the last round that you do, you might need to backtrack a little bit so that you can do the join as you go method. Okay, so be prepared. You are going to probably need to rip out some stitches. I'm just letting you know this now. The other thing that you could do is make your hexes, essentially big enough, but then realize that on the last round, you're going to need to do the join as you go method. So you could make it as big as you want, realizing that, oh, I need to add one more round. Again, I just want to put this out there so that you're aware, so that it's no big surprise, okay? I really want this to be comprehensible and fun for you guys, because this is so much fun for me. I'm loving this stuff. And so listen, enough of my yammering. I've done it enough, but I love you guys, and I really want this to be an awesome project for you. Very, very much so. So listen, if you liked this video, please hit the like button, and it really does let me know that I'm doing something right. And if you have any questions, comments, please do so in the comments section down below. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button already, please do so, because I do try to put out videos as often as I can, and this is just the first part of what I hope to be a nice little series where I can show you how to do this project. It's not going to be an entire crochet along, but I am going to be as thorough as I can be. So when I come back the next time, this hex is going to be the same size as this one here, and I will show you how to join everything together, and we will go from there. All right? So listen, until the next video, I want you guys to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.